Old Bill, a man who is much wiser than myself, felt that if only 10% of any given population of any given area became food independent, that it would cause a paradigm shift and that the system there would have to shift with it. So pick the method that suits you best to make this happen. And I'm going to walk you through my method. Here we go. So I guess it'd be a good idea to tell you how this all kind of works together. Not my idea for sure. It's definitely how I like to do things. The first thing you're going to need is an overstory or a canopy layer. And these trees, they were here already when I came here. I didn't plant these, obviously, but they're there and we're using them. The next layer is going to be your understory or your lower canopy, however you want to refer to it. Doesn't really matter, but I have these little fruit trees I've planted. Those are my sub canopy or understory or whatever. I got a couple peaches, a couple apples, and I planted a couple pomegranates that didn't make it through the winter. I'm gonna get those replaced. If you don't have an overstory or a canopy, your sub canopy, in this case the fruit trees that you plant, they will serve as your canopy. Make sense? Your next layer is gonna be your shrub layer. I got these raspberries planted everywhere. There's a blueberry, it's going gangbusters. There's several blackberries around, they're all doing really well. A good rule of thumb on your shrub layer is 2 for every tree that you've planted. And you can do more than that, you can do less than that, you can do none at all. It's your garden, man. It's entirely up to you. The next layer is your herbaceous layer. And my annuals play that part. All the tomatoes that you plant, all the peppers that you plant, your actual herbs. There's some oregano, looks like it's doing really well. There's some Brussels sprouts, getting really big. Got some lettuce down there in the herbaceous layer. Any perennial that size that you can find to throw in there, do it. Throw it in there. You need it. The system needs it. The next level is the root layer. And that garlic is really the only sort of rooting crop I have out here. Sadly, I got no potatoes in the ground this year. I got no carrots in the ground this year. And I know the year ain't over yet. I need to fix that if I can. Rooting layer, that's the next one. The next layer is your ground cover layer. And these strawberries, they will shoot runners off everywhere. These things will take off and cover all sorts of ground. I also have this. It's red creeping thyme. That stuff will spread everywhere. And when it flowers, the flowers are red. It looks really cool. The strawberries are from last year, but they're just taking off now. Those things, like I said, they'll shoot runners off. I would like it if my entire yard was strawberries. And you kind of want your ground cover to take over your garden. Currently, I've got this mulch everywhere. And it's kind of holding it down right now as far as ground cover goes. But I want a living ground cover. I want it to be alive and I want it to grow. Preferably, an edible ground cover would be great. I've never seen them, but I understand there's some creeping raspberries around. I don't know where to pick them up, where to get a hold of them, where they're native to, or any of that, but creeping raspberries would be cool to have. I've heard of people using annuals as ground cover. I think I actually seen a guy, he used watermelon as ground cover, and that'll work. It'll go everywhere. It's seasonal, you know, it's gonna be around for a year. I want it to be a carpet out here of crawling edible plants all over the ground. The 7th layer is the vining layer, and this grapevine is gonna vine everywhere. It's not anywhere near my tree or any of the trees that I planted because I think they're too young and it would probably kill them. But you need a vining layer. I have some hardy kiwi vines that I've put in over here. They've not really taken off yet, but I read that those things go crazy. They can grow like a foot a day in the right conditions. So we'll see. I have them in the grapevine set up to climb up these trellises here that we got. There's the other kiwi. Watermelons, cucumbers, squash, zucchini, all that stuff is gonna vine out too. It's just an annual and they'll die off in the winter. That's not to say that they're not important. They're also delicious and nutritious. Get those in the ground. Now that was all 7 layers that you can really have a hand in. There's an 8th layer, often overlooked, and it's really not anything you have a say in. The 8th layer of a food forest would be the fungal layer. And as you can see there, they pop up overnight and they'll probably be gone tomorrow. But they're around. There's another one. It looks older than those. There's a couple. They could have got here, the spores being blown through the air. They could have came in the wood chips that I hauled in. I don't know. I don't think you can go to the store and buy mushroom spores. But if you're dumb enough and lucky enough to stumble backwards into shit like I am, you get you a nice fungal layer. Good luck. And that's it. That's how we do it. Remember, get them beers out. Them slugs, they like beer. And plant 7 layers.
And would you believe there are people who come to me for advice? I'm driving fast as the car.